what's your best shotgun shooting tip for hitting a moving target?
So first thing is you got to focus on shouldering. That's a big thing. Shoulder, locate, and then what I like to do is when, this might sound crazy to a lot of people, is when the target starts to slow down, you know that you're no longer chasing it and rushing a shot. So I go shoulder, target, and then I track. And then once the target starts to slow down, that I know I'm no longer chasing a moving target, and I'm able to put a solid shot on it. So if you notice, like when you're rushing shots, that, oh man, did you see that duck? It was flying by super fast. I'm like, oh, that's because you're still chasing it. But once you can get that target to slow down in your field of view, you're not chasing it anymore, and then you can get a good lead on it. That's what I do.
Yeah, awesome.
Slow it down.
Slow it down. Go ahead.
That's it. No, just slow it down. That's all I gotta say is slow it down.
There you go. What type of choke tube do you use and why?
Well, I run an improved choke cylinder. It's a fantastic all-around choke. So where I'm hunting, I'm not really getting out anything past 40 yards. I don't need to. So, and I'm not going to blow anything to smithereens within 20. So it's a good choke tube. It has a great pattern out to 40. I pattern tested at 25 and 40 and it gave me the best patterns that I wanted to see, the most pellets on the target. So that's what I run.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Eric Wilkes here with Duck Hunting Fanatics, and I have on the line with me here Daniel Mancine of Mancine Outdoors. Daniel, thanks for joining us again today.
Happy Christmas Eve.
Yeah, happy Christmas Eve. Any big plans for Christmas? Just hanging out with family?
I'm supposed to go to work, man.
Man, supposed to.
We'll see how that goes.
Well, and I know you've been out hunting this past week, and you got your first wood duck. So congratulations on that, man. What else did you see as you were out hunting this week from a migration standpoint?
Yeah, it was kind of a rough day for us. The weather was nice, which there was no wind, the sun was shining, but we couldn't. The first part of our morning, there was nothing in the air, which was very surprising for where we were at. We had to go kick them up, but once we got the bird moving on our own, we had a little bit of fun before we got wiped out by the tide. But I would say it may have tapered off a little bit when it comes to new birds coming in, but that's just we've had some insane weather over here. One day it's 60 degrees and beautiful, and the next day it's a normal person's nightmare, about 100 degrees. So. It's just hard, the migration is kind of tapered off a little bit, but it's only going to start getting colder up north, so hopefully it'll pick back up.
Sure. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen with the weather patterns. I know it seems like this past week, especially even here in Wisconsin where I'm located, it's been kind of crazy. It's actually 50 degrees here today, and we're the day before Christmas, so you just rarely see that. And so, you know what? I'm going to enjoy it. I was able to get outside. I'm not going to lie. I was outside in a shirt, a t-shirt, and shorts this afternoon for about an hour. So
there you go. That's how you know it. But
yeah, it just
Northerners, man.
Yep.
I'm telling you, anything over 40, a little bit of sunshine, t-shirt and shorts.
Yep, exactly. It doesn't make for good hunting, so I'm like, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go out and do some stuff out around the house today and out in the yard and get some things done that I was putting off until spring. So, but I'm glad I was able to get it done today and enjoy some outside time with the kids and stuff. So. Daniel, we get a lot of guys. They seem to email in and they ask about brand and size of ammo. What do you shoot?
I run a 3-inch Winchester blindside, 1 1/8 2-shot. I've gone through a few different rounds this year, just really trying to pinpoint what I like the most and the most versatile round. And, this round, it's 1675 feet per second, so you can use it for those days that where these birds aren't committing and they're just flying outside, your deek set up, or, if they come in and commit, it's a really good all-purpose round. And what I like about it the most is it's got those the hex shot in it, so they can stack more consistent loads into the shell. So, like when you shake a standard shotgun shell, you can hear the BBs in there running around, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this one, no, it's packed in there solid. So, I mean, they're able to get some good velocity out of it. It's a great round.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, obviously it's a great round. You're smashing ducks. You're not having any problems smashing ducks. So, there you go.
No, they smash ducks. They smash ducks all right, I'll tell you that.
Well, and a lot of that too, and a lot of that too has to do with the guy behind the gun and the choke tube and the shot selection. That's why we're asking, we're kind of covering these topics today, because we want people to get some value out of that and really understand it. Sometimes it's not about, this ammo or that ammo or this gun or that gun. It's really what you do to practice. It's the type of ammo that goes through your gun, right? Not every gun shoots every single ammo the same, right? It's not going to pattern the same, right? And then from a choke tube standpoint, a lot of times it varies on where you're located. It varies on what you're hunting, how you're hunting. The time of the season, right? Early season versus late season, right? You may, I know myself and a lot of other guys, they may swap choke tubes from what they shoot in the beginning of the season compared to what they shoot at the end of the season. And so it's good that we bring that up and we're able to share that and hopefully, make some guys some better, smarter hunters out of the deal.
Yeah, that's I agree. I've been able to use this round for most of the year. Last year I started out running some Kent fast deals, and then I ended up switching to those Winchester Supersonics, which a lot of people can't, or no, the Remington Supersonics. A lot of people can't shoot those because they're also known as a barrel buster. So, but that's, they blow up a lot of guys' barrels that are older guns that can't handle it. But,
sure.
It's very important, and you got to understand, the dynamics of your weapon and the condition of your weapon too. So if you got old 1940, first models, semi-automatic, you're not going to be trying to run 1,700 feet per second through. You might blow it up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You got to be careful. You got to know your weapon and know what it's capable of and know what it can handle. And Daniel, I know you hunt with friends and family when you can. How do you all go about practicing safety, right? So in other words, you're approaching the blind, you're hunting with more than one person, maybe two, maybe three people, a couple buddies and some family members. How do you set up to shoot safely?
Well, we try, obviously the most important thing is we try to space out a little bit in the blind, but we don't want to space out too far where an overlapping field of fire will put you pointing at another hunter. So we want it to make sure that no matter what, you can't turn into another hunter. So we have kind of, and it's silly, we kind of call it a double arm interval. So they put an arm out, I put an arm out, and that's a pretty safe shooting distance for each other. And we make sure that everybody, when it's time to shoot, we have a plan. So we know nobody's going to try to sit back and shoot while seated, or everybody's not going to stand up. When it's time to shoot, everybody's on the same page. We do the same thing. Everybody stands up, comes to the front of the blind, or we have different scenarios that we go through. So one thing we do is, no shooting over the head. That's period. I've seen that happen where another hunter shoots over another hunter's head, and now that it concussed that other hunter, and he's all jacked up for the rest of the hunt. It's just, it's just about being safe, and common sense is huge, But overlapping field of fire, and understanding where everybody's barrel's moving. Everybody's got to be looking in the same way. So communicating while you're in the blind, like, hey, I got a duck coming in low from left to right, approximately 6 feet off the water. So everybody knows where the duck's coming from, and they're not, one barrel swinging to the right while another barrel swinging to the left. That could be bad news. So it's just about communication, really.
For sure, yeah, and I know that's always a big thing, right? It's just making sure you're safe out there, and we don't need any accidents. We all want to be able to continue hunting, right, and being able to continue enjoying some of our favorite pastimes with friends and family, and continue to send that down to the next generation as well. And the only way we're able to
Yes,
do that
sir.
is if we practice safety, right?
Safety's
So
paramount. That's what I always say.
it
If it ain't
is.
safe, don't do it.
Right. Exactly. Have you ever had any close calls where, maybe you were a little bit nervous or a little bit maybe even frightened where you're like, "Oh my God, don't ever do that again?"
Um, I wouldn't say nervous or frightened, but I have had, recently I had somebody shoot right over the top of my head. I mean, their barrel was probably 6 inches from my head, and they shot.
Oof.
Um, yeah, it wasn't fun. It definitely kind of took me out of the hunt for a little bit because I was. I don't know if you ever been on the wrong end of a shotgun. It's pretty loud and deafening, and we had a conversation after that. They realized what they had done after they did it, and they unloaded their weapon, they put it down, they apologized, and we went through some things, like, hey, we want to keep it out in front of us, and we can't make mistakes like that. And that's the thing is, even if, accidents happen, but if we could do our best to prevent them, and that's why it's always good to have a plan. And that's why I tell people no longer from here on out, there wasn't before, but now it's definitely a staple. Like, hey, there's no overhead shooting. You don't, unless you're by yourself, but you got to know what's around you too, because that shot's got to come down. So if you're shooting straight up, well, you're going to pepper yourself like a dummy. But yeah, I would say out of all the years I've been hunting, that's it. And it happened recently, so it's funny that you should ask.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's wild. I'd imagine, if you were looking up at it at all, you see the barrel flash and you get a little bit of heat and a little bit of blowback coming from that right away.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Yeah, that's a really close call. I mean, that's so close, right? And I can only imagine if you weren't wearing earplugs, that doesn't help either. And that's just wild. I think, friend or family, I probably would have punched somebody and said, "Look, don't ever do that again,"
Well,
and had a very serious
some
conversation as well.
uh, yeah, some unpleasantries were exchanged shortly after I recovered my train of thought.
Yeah, right. Meanwhile, you're just like going through all the, life flashing before your eyes and, going through all of that in a very quick, very short period of time. So I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I've never had a call that close, but I was actually out upland hunting and I have had someone swing the gun in my direction and I could hear the guys behind me yelling, "Duck, duck, duck." And all I did was just hit the
Ooh,
deck, and
yeah.
fortunately no shots were fired or at least not in
Oh.
my general direction until they were over me. But who knows what would have
Hmm.
happened had I stayed standing? Had they shot right at
Yeah.
me or right over me? And we had some words as well, and it was a couple of young guys that were inexperienced, and I just happened to be guiding them on an upland hunt,
Oh
and
man.
one of those things,
Yeah. That's I went out upland hunting earlier this year, and we went to this club down in Central Oregon, and I'll tell you what, that guy is. Hey, Dad, what was the name of that pheasant place we went down to earlier this year? Well, I'll have to get back to you on that one, but man, I'll tell you what, this guy, he put safety first. He went through all the mechanics of your weapons and your responses, and if he didn't feel comfortable with you being out there with him, he ain't sending you. You're not going. So
right.
I'll send you that information. But there's a lot of people out there that now, that weapons have come into question in the United States. A lot of people are more focused on the safety part of it. So
Hmm.
responsibility. So yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just one of those things. You can never be too safe, right? There's no such thing as being
Hmm.
overly cautious when you're dealing with firearms, and especially when you're out in the field and you're actually hunting, because then your adrenaline kicks in, the heart rate gets elevated, your blood pressure comes up a little bit, you get excited, and right, and if
Hmm.
you're not practicing safety and training safe in the off
Yeah.
season, it definitely can have an impact, and you can make a mistake, and it only takes one mistake, and it can be very tragic. And so you just never want those things to happen. I don't wish that on anyone. And that's why we wanted to talk a little bit
Exactly.
about safety, right? And just get different viewpoints on safety. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, one thing I can add to that is always know what condition your weapon is. Is it loaded? Is the safety on? Is the safety off? You always have to know.
Yep.
Then you also, if it comes down to it, and you ain't got a round chambered or something, and you're not, click, then you look silly anyway, But it's more about safety, understanding your weapon and where you're at, and understanding the power that you possess in your hands, and a lot of people don't respect that these days, and it's huge. So.
Yep. No,
Yep.
and that's a great point. So thanks for sharing, and thanks so much, Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
for joining us. I know it's the week of Christmas, and we've got the big holiday and New Year's coming up. So I appreciate your time and
No
continuing
problem.
to share with the community. Once again, Daniel Mancine with Mancine Outdoors. Daniel, how does everybody get a hold of you?
Same thing. Find me on Instagram, Mancine Outdoors. Shoot me an email, mancine.daniel@gmail.com. A few of you have reached out to me asking questions. I appreciate it. So yeah, just keep out there and shoot straight, shoot safe,
Shoot
have fun.
straight and shoot safe. Have fun. Awesome. Well, you and your family have a very Merry Christmas. We appreciate you again, and
You too, sir.
we'll have you on another episode next week. Otherwise, thanks for listening, everyone. Again, Eric Wilkes here with Duck Hunting Fanatics, and I've got Daniel Mancine with Mancine Outdoors. Go out and connect with Daniel on Instagram, and everyone have a great Christmas, and we'll see you all soon.
Merry Christmas.
Greetings, fellow duck hunting fanatics. Eric Wilkes here, co-founder, and I wanted to take a moment and personally thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, make sure you click the link just below this video to go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you get all of our future updates and future videos that we release.